Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm a researcher at Stanford, and today I'm going to be presenting work I did with Ashwin, Paranjape, and Professor Chris Manning on effective social chatbot strategies for increasing user initiative. First, we need to define initiative. An agent's conversational initiative is the degree of control they have over the conversation's direction at a given moment in time. To give some intuition for what this means, we can look at two common human settings, the job interview and the cocktail party. At a job interview, the interviewer controls the conversation by asking questions. This means that they have high initiative and that the interviewee, who is answering their questions, has low initiative. At a cocktail party, guests will take turns choosing topics, asking questions, answering questions, and providing unprompted information. This pattern of alternating between high and low initiative roles is called mixed initiative. Currently, conversational agents tend to be designed either for high bot initiative, where the bot steers the user down predefined paths, or high user initiative, where the bot passively responds to the user's commands. Our work is motivated by the hypothesis that in a social chatbot setting, mixed initiative will be both more natural and more enjoyable. When we were designing our experiments, we wanted to understand how human-human and human-bot conversations differ in terms of turn-taking and initiative. To do this, we analyzed conversations from two sources, the Switchboard dataset and Stanford's Alexa Prize bot. Through our Alexa Prize bot, we were able to collect a dataset of human-bot open domain social conversations. This was complemented by the Switchboard dataset, which contains transcripts of human-human social telephone conversations. Before getting into the examples, I want to give a quick disclaimer that due to Alexa Prize rules, we are not allowed to release any user data. So all examples of conversations with our bot in this presentation are representative of real user conversations, but do not contain any real user utterances. With that in mind, when we look at the mechanisms of user initiative in human-bot conversation, we see a pattern in the dialogue acts. The bot is asking questions on every turn. The user is answering those questions, generally with statements. If the user wants to take initiative, they do so by asking a question or giving a command. And because the user has limited mechanisms for taking initiative, they rarely have it for consecutive turns. This behavior contrasts pretty starkly with what we see when we look at the dialogue acts in human-human conversation. In human-human conversation, the person who is speaking makes statements, and the person who is listening asks follow-up questions or uses back channels to signal that the speaker should continue. If either the speaker or the listener wants to take initiative, they do so by asking a question or introducing new information in a statement, which triggers a change in topic. The goal of our work is to make human-bot conversation more similar to human-human conversation by developing strategies to encourage greater user initiative. In order to test these strategies, we need to define initiative in a human-bot setting and then come up with a reasonable way of measuring it. Because of the information and power asymmetries, human-bot conversations differ from human-human ones. For example, humans are much less likely to give a command to other humans than they are to bots. For this reason, models of initiative developed for human-human conversations aren't perfectly transferable. To address this, we propose a new multi-level definition of initiative intended specifically for human-bot conversations. At the none level of initiative, the user's response has no impact on the conversational direction set by the bot. This includes yes or no answers to yes or no questions and uninformative responses or cop-outs such as I'm not sure. When the bot asks a closed-ended question, such as what is your favorite animal, the user has a bit more freedom than they do when answering a yes/no question, but they're still fairly constrained. If the user answers a closed-ended question compliantly and without additional information, as in the example shown, then we consider them to be taking a low level of initiative. If the user chooses to respond to a closed-ended question with more information than what the bot was strictly asking for example, by saying, not only I have a dog, but also adding, I have a corgi, then we would say that they're taking medium initiative. We also say that the user is taking medium initiative in response to an open-ended question, such as, what would you like to talk about? A user takes high initiative when they're directly asserting a change in the conversation's direction without any kind of prompting from the bot. And this is generally either by asking a question or requesting a change in topic in a way that's natural and consistent with the conversation. We distinguish this from abrupt initiative, which occurs when the user's command or request is unnatural or when the user interjects to make a complaint. This type of initiative taking is unique to human-bot conversations and is generally indicative of user dissatisfaction. Now that we've defined initiative, we propose 3 metrics for measuring it. The number of words in a user utterance, which represents the amount of information the user is sharing. The number of noun phrases, which we use to distinguish between long contentful utterances and long non-contentful utterances, such as, I guess I'm not really sure, and the negative log likelihood, or entropy of responses. We chose entropy as a metric because in theory, when the bot constrains users more, we will observe a small number of high probability utterances, for example, yes or no, leading to lower total entropy. On the other hand, when the bot constrains users less, we would expect to see a large number of low probability utterances, leading to higher entropy. We validated our metrics by hand labeling a data set of 245 turns of conversation. On this data set, 2 annotators achieved an inter-rater reliability score with Cohen's kappa of 0.71, which indicates substantial agreement. Due to the small number of high initiative examples observed, we combined the medium and high levels of initiative for these plots. As the plots show, our automated metrics are correlated with levels of initiative. Once we had established a way to measure initiative, we tested 4 different strategies for increasing it. The first strategy we tested was adding statements to questions our bot was asking. We hypothesized that users would take more initiative in response to a statement than they would in response to a question. To study this, we altered a scripted section of our bot where users were asked personal questions and tested asking a question, giving a statement, or giving a statement and then asking a question. Since these responses were written by hand, the statements and questions could be paired cohesively. We found that statements alone outperformed both questions and combined statements and questions. This result was statistically significant using a pairwise t-test. The representative examples in the image illustrate the behavior we observed. When a question was asked, users tended to give straightforward answers independent of whether or not that question was preceded by a statement. However, when a statement was given alone, users shared diverse responses. Next, we hypothesized that users would share more information in response to personal statements since they might reciprocate. To test this hypothesis, we again altered a scripted section of the bot, writing a set of personal opinion statements, such as I like ice cream, personal experience statements, such as I ate ice cream last night, and general statements, such as many people enjoy ice cream. We found that personal opinions elicited more user initiative than either of the other 2 statements tested. Qualitatively, we observed that users were more likely to reciprocate personal opinions, which might explain this effect. Since we found that giving statements instead of questions was effective for increasing user initiative on a single turn, we wanted to test what would happen if we replaced statements with questions in larger segments of the conversation. To ensure the best user experience possible, We confine this experiment to sections of our bot that were at least partially neurally generated, since those components were more flexible in response to a changing distribution of user utterances. Within those segments, we tested removing 0, 33, 66, and 100% of questions. And we found that initiative increased as the number of questions decreased. The example here, which is based on a real user conversation, shows the user initiating a new topic, in this case, the Little Mermaid, in response to a statement from the bot. Since back-channeling is used in human-human conversation as a signal from the listener to the speaker that the speaker should continue talking, we hypothesized that users would take initiative in response to the bot back-channeling. We tested this within a fully neural module of our bot and experimented with back-channeling on 0, 33, 66, or 100% of turns. We found that back-channeling 33% of the time was the most effective. The example dialogue here shows how back-channeling can encourage the user to share more about a topic and how it gives them more space to choose what they would like to discuss. Although our automated metrics show an increase in initiative, we wanted to validate that this was truly reflective of user behavior. For each experiment, we identified the most effective strategy per our automated metrics, and then sampled 50 user utterances from turns where it had been used in the bot's prior utterance, and 50 turns where it had not been used previously. 3 annotators without any knowledge of the experiments labeled each turn for level of user initiative. These annotators achieved a Cohen's kappa score of 0.67, indicating substantial agreement. The annotations showed that user behavior was truly changing in terms of initiative. Since our bot's baseline behavior, which is shown here, was to ask a question, turns without any intervention tended to have low initiative. When an intervention was used, we found that user responses were divided between no initiative and medium or high initiative. To get a sense of what that might look like, take the original question, if you could travel anywhere, where would you go? And replace it with, if I could travel anywhere in the world, I would go to Paris. On top, the user takes medium initiative in response to that statement by bringing up their own topic, Tokyo. And on the bottom, the user allows the bot to maintain control by giving a more passive agreement. Although our results indicate that the strategies tested are promising, there are many questions left to explore. These are just a couple of examples. First, we decided when to back-channel or remove questions at random, and it's highly likely that these strategies would be more effective with a smarter decision-making approach. And second, we did all of our experiments individually, so we don't know what effects we'd see when they were combined. Looking at the past literature on conversation, which informed many of our approaches, has the potential to transform today's chatbots by leveraging extensive research on how human conversation functions. Our findings suggest that more open-ended and personal responses, like those common in human social conversations, are effective and impactful in human bot ones as well. Giving the user greater opportunity to take initiative increases their agency and allows them to direct the conversation towards their interests. We believe that this is promising for the development of future conversational AI. Thank you so much. We are looking forward to hearing your thoughts.